A landmark project, Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project, is at last taken off. This project has been on the drawing board for 40 years, but now the engineering, procurement, and construction contract for the 3,050 megawatts project has been agreed with a Chinese joint venture company with a financing commitment from the government of China. Completion is targeted for 2023. As I mentioned earlier, Transmission Company of Nigeria can now distribute all the 7,000 megawatts that can be generated. The Transmission Company of Nigeria and the Niger Delta Holding Company have added 1,950 NVA of 330 down to 132 kV transformer capacity of 10 transmission stations and 2,930 MVA of 132 down to 33 kV transformer capacity of 42 substations, including Ekwatupene, Aba, Alagbon, Aja, Ijigbo, Funtua, and Zaria. This administration is working with the privatized distribution companies to overcome the continuing challenges of distribution. These massive public works should spearhead the recovery and lead millions back to employment. You will recall that it was not until last year that we got out of the economic recession into which the country had fallen as a consequence of past unsustainable economic policies which projected short-term illusory growth. The government is slowly stabilizing the economy. It was in order to change the steady and steep decline that we adopted the more sustainable policies and programs captured in the economic recovery plan. Diversification efforts have resulted in improved output, particularly in agriculture and solid minerals sectors. The relative exchange rate stability has improved manufacturing sector performance. We have got to get used to discipline and direction in economic management. The days of business as usual are numbered. 2 years ago, I appealed to people to go back to the land. I am highly gratified that agriculture has picked up, contributing to the government's effort to restructure the economy. Rice imports will stop this year. Local rice, fresher, and more nutritious will be on our dishes from now on. By the same token, I am today appealing to enterprising Nigerians with ideas and unemployed graduates and other able-bodied and literate men and women with ideas, not to just sit and wait for employment from the government or the organized private sector. Great nations are built by enterprising people who turn their hands to anything that circumstances dictate. In respect of political developments, I have kept a close watch on the ongoing debate about restructuring in court. No human law or edifice is perfect. Whatever structure we develop must periodically be perfected according to changing circumstances and the country's socio-economic developments. We Nigerians can be very impatient. and want to improve our conditions faster than may be possible, considering our resources and capabilities. When all the aggregates of nationwide opinions are considered, my firm view is that our problems are more to do with process than structure. We tried the parliamentary system. We jettisoned it. Now there are shrill cries for a return to the parliamentary structure. In older democracies, these systems took centuries to evolve, so we cannot expect a copied system to fit neatly our purposes. We must give a long period of trial and improvement before the system we have adopted is anywhere near fit for the purpose. However, there is a strong case for a closer look at the cost of government and for the public services long used to extravagance, waste, and corruption to change for the better. I assure you that government is ever receptive to ideas which will improve governance and contribute to the country's peace and stability. As the election season approaches, politicians must avoid exploiting ethnicity and religion by linking ethnicity with religion and religion with politics. Such must be avoided at all costs if we are to live in harmony. In this respect, the rest of Nigeria could learn from the southwestern states who have successfully internalized religion, ethnicity, and politics. Political discourse should be conducted with civility, decorum, and in a constitutional manner. We all have a collective responsibility to strengthen our democracy and entrench the rule of law. We should draw encouragement from the series of by-elections conducted by INEC last year, which were generally violence-free and their outcomes adjudged to be free and fair. Before I conclude my address, I must reassure my fellow citizens that security of life and property is still top of our government's agenda. We have since beaten Boko Haram. Isolated attacks still occur, but even the best policed countries cannot prevent determined criminals from committing terrible acts of terror, as we have seen during the first years in Europe, Asia, Middle East, elsewhere in Africa and America. Our government remains determined to protect all Nigerians in line with our election pledge and promises. On behalf of all Nigerians, let me offer our thanks to the armed forces, the police, other paramilitary forces, and traditional authorities who are working round the clock to ensure that you and I go about our normal businesses in reasonable safety. Terrorism and urban crimes are worldwide phenomena, and our security forces are continuously adopting their responses to changing threats. With regard to rampant cases of kidnappings, we are taking immediate short-term measures to combat this new evil creeping in our societies. Tighter police measures and swift and severe punishment for those proved to be engaged in kidnapping are on the way. With respect to Niger Delta, government is still engaged in responsible leadership of the communities to help in identifying and addressing genuine grievances of the region. Our Clean Up program, in collaboration with the United Nations, is making satisfactory progress. I am grateful to all the governors and other political and community leaders of the Niger Delta states for their part in bringing relative peace to the areas. Finally, let me again express my heartfelt thanks to all Nigerians who prayed for me during my illness last year. I feel deeply humbled by your prayers and good wishes, and I am more determined than ever to serve you to the best of my ability. Good morning, and I wish everyone a happy new year.